Hey, thanks for stopping by today. We need to refresh on our bedroom in the worst way. It is looking so brown and so beige, so we decided to add a simple and cost-effective feature wall to liven it up a bit. It is early spring and we need to get our home market ready in just a few short weeks. So come along with me as we turn this dull wall into a simple yet eye-catching feature to amp up the look. Okay, so first I went to my number one go-to, which is Pinterest, to get some ideas. Here are just a few that I saved. We discussed a few options, but ultimately decided to go with a simple horizontal design using trim molding. As per usual, I took the old school pen and pad and sketched out the design on my trusty graph paper. We also wrote down the wall measurements, and before finalizing the list, we checked the garage to see what supplies we already had on hand. Once I had a solid list, yes, you guessed it, we headed to Lowe's. Our list was pretty light. We only needed some caulk, a few paintbrushes, and the molding. So we headed to the lumber section first to see our options, and we ended up picking one about 1.5 inches thin that would sit flush to the wall. And based on our measurements, we estimated we needed about 7 to 8 strips. Next, we headed over to grab some caulk. Thankfully, we did not need to fully purge the space since we were focused primarily on the feature wall. This simple project required just a few supplies, such as the molding, paint, a level, tape, caulk, putty, sandpaper. We had a pencil, hammer, and nails, and that's about it. Alright, it was now time for the fun part, which was putting this plan in motion. We started by measuring and getting the wood strips cut. We used a table saw for our project, but keep in mind you can also use a miter box to get the same results. They can run you about $15 at Lowe's or Home Depot. Figured it would be easiest to make a large box and fill in the horizontal lines from there since we were doing just the bottom half of the wall. This project was essentially measure, level, nail, repeat. It was so easy. And as you can see, we opted to use the nail gun instead of the hammer and nails. It was just way more efficient. Okay, so once we completed the outside box, we added in the other wood strips, being careful to account for even spacing. Here's what we've got so far. It's looking nice. We now need to get the nail holes filled with putty. As you can see, the putty goes on pink, but it turns white when it dries, so it takes out the guessing game. We now need to give the molding a good sanding, then add some tape in preparation for paint. had up our nifty tape job, it was time to paint. It was easier to just remove the outlet covers instead of taping around them. Here's the name of the paint we used. We had repainted all of the baseboards a while back, and I thought it would be a great idea to use the same color for this project because I knew it would brighten the space and we could also save some cash. All it needed was a good stir and it was good to go. We were sure to put out a few different types of brushes to test out which would get the job done easiest. So here's where we are after just one coat. It's a little splotchy, so I'm going to wait about 20 to 30 minutes and tackle the next coat. The second coat is up and yep, it's still splotchy, so this is going to be a 3-coat job for sure. Let me know in the comments below if you have a feature wall in your home and which room you installed it in. I can't wait to hear what projects you all are working on. We waited about 20 minutes before painting the next coat. It took a total of 3 coats to get the paint evened out, which isn't so bad. After painting, we added caulking around each of the boards to fill in gaps. Back through with a smoothing tool to spread out the caulking evenly. We began removing the tape immediately after caulking. When you have a paint project, make sure to remove the tape before the paint dries, so that way you don't risk pulling up some of the paint with the tape. The walls were completely dried in just 2 hours. Okay, so let's take a quick walk down memory lane to the before. And here's what the space is looking like with the wall completed. The room feels fresh and bright, which is what we were aiming for. Now we just need to get the larger pieces back in place and voila! Transforming this space was so much fun. See how a small project can make a nice impact? With all of our careful planning, we managed to pull it together in just a few hours on a Saturday. The space feels great, and most importantly, it feels fresher and larger. Thanks so much for stopping by, and make sure you catch me next time.